everyone, my name is Amber, welcome back to my channel. This is my January TBR. So I am recording this a little bit early and it's not quite January yet, so there may be some crossover books from my December TBR to my January TBR if I don't get to them in December, but fingers crossed I will be very good and I'll manage it, but it's probably not going to be the case. So I'm not going to mention any books that I had on my TBR for December, just in case I do manage to get through all of them. I'm going to start off with my physical books. These are ones that I definitely want to read and I think it's a good mixture of genres, and then we'll get into my challenge books. So first of all, I have Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail. I read Delilah Green Doesn't Care in December and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. Spoilers for my December wrap-up. And this is the companion sequel about Delilah's stepsister. It's an adult romance. I don't know anything else about it and that's okay. I imagine this could be a really quick read because the first book was really fast, although it's a little bit on the longer side for a romance, although that's not necessarily a bad thing. I also want to pick up The Love and Lies of Roxana Ali. So this is a YA romance this time. It's also sapphic, I believe. The main character, I think, is from a Bangladeshi family and she is keeping her romantic life a secret from her parents, and then they find out that she is actually dating a girl and they send her over to Bangladesh. I think she's going to learn a bit more about her parents' culture, grandparents and traditions and things, and I hope it's going to be really good. I also want to pick up Jungle, which as you can see has the lovely movie tie-in cover. This I believe is a non-fiction story about a guy who got lost in Bolivia in the Amazon rainforest. It says here that a group of 4 travellers go to Bolivia and go on an expedition into the rainforest, but then they start to disagree and the group splits up. The author Yossi and his friends try to find their way back without a guide, and then there's a rafting accident. So I'm really into survival thrillers at the moment and I'm hoping that's what this is going to be. I know that it's non-fiction, I shouldn't like take pleasure in reading about survival, people's survival, but I mean this guy wrote the book, so I'm really looking forward to reading this one actually and potentially watching the film. I also want to pick up Of Women and Salt. This one is I think a generational story set in Cuba. I think it follows one woman in the 1800s and then her descendant in the more present day, I think, and it's split between Cuba and the US. I don't really know much about it, but I've had this on my TBR for the longest time and I can't wait to read this one. I don't really know much about Cuba at all, really, so it'll be good to see some historical Cuba, and then if the main character goes back to Cuba from the US in present day, that will also be very interesting. I'm also hoping to pick up one that I've been meaning to read all year, and that is I Must Betray You. This is Ruta Sepet's latest book. It came out in the UK, I think in August, and there was this whole thing with Waterstones and they didn't deliver my pre-order, so I had to buy it elsewhere, which is annoying. But this is set in Romania and the synopsis is very vague, so I don't really know much about it. I just love her writing, so I'm expecting to love this one. I'm also hoping to pick up and finish The Silence of the Girls. So I did start this one. I got, how far through did I get? I'm not entirely sure, you know, probably about 60 pages, and I was enjoying it, so I'm looking forward to reading this one. This is some sort of retelling about the women of Troy, I believe. I'm not sure if it directly follows Helen or if it follows someone else, and a friend actually lent this book to me years ago and I still haven't given it back, so I should probably do that soon. And then the last physical book for now is Red Tigress. So this is a YA fantasy book. It's the sequel to Blood Heir, and I'm trying to read through series more in 2023 because I've got a really bad habit of starting series but not carrying on with them even when I really enjoy them. I gave the first book in the series 4 stars, and something about sequels just scares me in case it's not as good as the first book, so I would like to try to get to this one in January. First book is kind of like a fantasy book inspired by the legend of Anastasia. I don't know if you know your Russian history. Anastasia was a Russian princess and the monarchy were overthrown, and for years and decades up later there were rumours that Anastasia was actually still alive. She was only like 12 I think at the time, and people kept coming forward to say that they were her, and no one was. Anastasia is confirmed dead. They found her body but people refused to believe it and they've turned it into this really weird thing. But anyway, this fantasy series it's inspired by that. In this one the Anastasia character is still alive and needs to go back and take her throne. So those are the physical books, and now I've got 2 challenges to do. I need to pick a random number from my TBR using a random number generator, which I will do now. I need to remember to screenshots it this time because I forgot last time. Actually, first I need to figure out how many books are actually on my TBR. Okay, so I need to choose a number between 2 and 357. Okay, I got 221. I promise I only clicked it once. I was struggling to take a screenshot, so then I need to see what number that is on my TBR. I hope it's a good one. If it's a sequel, I'm gonna pick something else. Oh, this is a good one, hang on. Okay, so it chose for me a book that I've been meaning to read for years, and that is Gideon the Ninth. I'm actually quite happy about this. I did start this and I read a chapter of it and I did enjoy it, but I've been very intimidated by it, partly because of the hype and all the fandom stuff. Also, it's quite chunky and I'm not sure the sequels have been getting good reviews, but I'm glad the random number generator chose this one for me because I do need to get to it at some point. It's been sat on my desk for months now because I meant to read it back in like July. It's set in a galaxy, universe, space type thing, and I think the Emperor is after necromancers, and I think Gideon is a necromancer. Oh no, sorry, Gideon is a swordswoman for the necromancer, I think. I believe it's quite political, and that's about all I know. Thank you, random number generator, for choosing this for me. And then I need to choose a random colour from the random colour generator because I'm choosing a colour using this and then I'm picking a book with that colour on the cover. So yeah, let's give this a go. I don't know if you should be able to see if I click the right thing. Oh, it's a bright pink again. I got like a darker pink last time. I don't know if I have many bright pinks that match this. One second, I'm going to turn my camera off while I have a search through my TBR pile. Okay, so I didn't really have many options for this one. I think this would have been better if it had shown up in December because I could have chosen Tokyo Dreaming or Delilah Green Doesn't Care. But I do have 3 books here that I could sort of match up with this cover. So this first one is probably the worst match of all of them. I've got The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein and oh, that's very bright. I'll put a screenshot up on the screen now. As you can see, it doesn't really match. This is very light and I'm not really in the mood to read another Kissed in White book so soon because I don't really like books, to be honest. So maybe not that one. And then I also have Ocean's Echo, which has the colour here, but it's not quite right, I don't think. So this is a contender because I do really, really want to read this soon. I mean, I might as well. I don't think it's cheating. And then the one that does match the colour the best is See You Yesterday by Rachel Lynn Solomon. And I'm planning on doing a book challenge on all of Rachel Solomon's books, so I'm going to be reading them, vlogging it and deciding which one is best. Like I've done this with Ruth Ware, Taylor Jenkins Reid and a few other authors. I've got a couple of other people on my list who I was going to get to before Rachel Lynn Solomon, but I could start it in January, I suppose. There's no reason not to. This is just me like wanting to do it all in one month, which is silly. There's no need for me to challenge myself to read all of her books in one go. So maybe I could start with this one. And this one is, I think, a YA contemporary, potentially about time travel and Groundhog Day sort of vibes. I'm really into time travel and parallel universe stuff, so I think I will really enjoy this one. I got this from my friend Kayla, so yeah, maybe I'll try this one. I'll give that a go. And then very quickly I want to mention some NetGalley books because I want to promote them better this year. One second, if I just go to my ARC TBR, I can see what I've got coming up in January. So if I don't read these in December, which I might, you'll see in my December wrap up, I have The Things We Do to Our Friends, River Sing Me Home, Spice Road, which I'm on the blog tour for, 6 Times We Almost Kissed and The One Time We Did, The Marriage Act, The Daughters of Izdihar, which I think I might actually read in December, not sure. But those are some options for me. I like to have, you know, lots and lots of options because I'm a mood reader. This is my TBR for January. I'm very excited for it. Let me know if you've read any of these and if you loved them. Let me know if you would like a singular review video on any of them and I'll do my best to do that for you. Now that I'm looking at it, I kind of want to read these now, but I have to restrain myself because that's a bit silly, isn't it? Thank you so much for watching this video and I'll speak to you all in the next one. Bye.